And rolling. Take one. Katie Peck, take one.
I hope we only take one. I don't want to do more than one.
All right. You ready for this? I know you're excited about it all.
Oh boy, am I.
Thanks for saving me a seat. Appreciate it. Welcome, everybody, to the North Idaho Fantasy Football League News, your online source for all your fantasy football needs. We haven't done this in a while. This is your commissioner, your beloved John Hunt, and with him is Katie Peck. Katie, nice to see you here today. A little limp-wristed. Oh, I see. Okay, good, good. Katie has been running the Divas franchise for years now. I'm running the JH Express. Katie, once again, you're near the top.
Near the top.
Near, second place. What is, just real quickly, what's the secret to your success in over all these years? 2 fantasy football league championship games. You haven't won a championship yet, but for those viewers out there, the Sean Charlestons and other people, Normans, who've never been to a championship game, what can you tell them to help them out?
Sleep with the commissioner?
Mm-hmm.
Drew Brees really is the only reason I've gotten close to any championships. He kind of carries my team.
Drew Brees. Who else do you like on your team this year?
All of them?
Yeah. Yeah. Want to throw out any names? Want to name drop at all?
Nah, Drew Brees is my favorite.
Yeah, that's about what I thought.
Shut up.
I'm sure if we asked Jen, she would say Peyton Manning. And Peyton Manning and...
He did really good last week.
Peyton Manning.
What did he do?
He
had like 7, what was it? He did something big this last week.
So that's why we have Katie Peck on here, to bring you the news, because Peyton Manning was off last week. he didn't play.
Then it was the week before. What was something? He did something big like the week before then. He had a big week. That's all. The only reason Jen beat my...
I got a big something. Yeah, that's right. We hear jokes already. Boom. Just like that. Anyways.
That's the only reason why Jen and Mikey, the Peters, both kind of destroyed my team the last 2 weeks.
Well, let's move on a little bit. Enjoy your... Katie's drinking Capri Sun today.
I see you already opened it for me.
Yep, because I know you have trouble with the straw there. Let's get into what's been going on, and it's been kind of a crazy week 10. We're entering into week 10, and we've had 4 trades go down in the last week, and 2 of them just today, 1 yesterday, 1 4 days ago. It all got sparked by the comment board. Every now and then people put some messages on there inspiring their fellow owner to, do better. Hey, hang in there. You're going to do a good job.
No.
Even though you lost, you're still a winner.
No. No.
Anyways, Dane was out there. He's like, hey,
don't even talk about that.
hey, everybody. It'd be great if we all did some trades together. Wouldn't it be fun, the camaraderie and sportsmanship to do a few trades? I'll give you this player, you give me that player. And that sparked a trade right off the bat. Are you familiar with what happened, Katie? Did you read any of those messages?
I read part of it. After a while, I got tired of Dane and Carrie and Norman and Hank. They seem to be the only ones that ever really post.
Well, you had some great posts, Katie. Thought-provoking posts. I know I was awake all night trying to decipher.
Too.
Anyways, the trade that went down is, and this was hotly contested, talked about. We had
Janke traded Carrie.
Janke traded Greg Jennings and Jake Locker to Des Bryant. Okay, and you think that was a trade rape. You were on the poll and you said that Carrie got the short end of that stick. Dane was very adamant that this was a trade
Carrie
rape.
Is very secure with who she is. She knows a lot more than I do when it comes to football knowledge. But I think in this area she wasn't. I mean, it made sense. She needed a quarterback. And she got a running back out of it as well. But I don't think she was prepared for the Janke.
If you notice on these telecasts back in the old days, I used to drink beer. Now I've become sophisticated in my older age, and I drink fine.
No, we're out of beer.
And I drink fine wines.
No, we're out of beer.
Anyways, Dane was very adamant that
I don't think that's your wine. I think that's PJ's wine.
Anyways, Dane was drink your Capri Sun. Dane was very adamant that this trade should have gone to a league vote. Now, the league vote clause was invoked years ago when Robbie Hunt was selling off his players. He sold off Terrell Owens and got back, and I listed some of them in a well-written article by the commish the other day entitled "Collusion," that I know all of you read.
Dane had a nice picture.
Yeah, that's the new one. Yeah, the collusion picture had Robbie Hunt on it. I'm sure a lot of you people printed it out to share with your spouses
I
at home.
framed it. I don't know about everybody else, but I'm still waiting for the author to sign it. It was so brilliant.
I know that Katie is awake sometimes at night, just discussing what's going on in the league. Waking me up, discussing trades. And I'm sure that's going on.
Johnny, Janke trade director.
I'm sure that's going on with Dane and his wife and Hank and who's ever he's sleeping with. And
Johnny, wake up! Dane said something funny for once. Ha!
So Dane felt it was a trade rape. I'm going to give you some stats because you think it's kind of a trade rape too. I felt as a commissioner that the trade did not warrant a league-wide vote. The league-wide vote is for a complete lopsided trade.
Agreed.
And that's when you're talking about maybe Jake Locker's backup, whoever that is in Tennessee, Ryan Fitzpatrick for Des Bryant. That would be what I would consider a trade rape. You're right, Carrie did need a quarterback.
Yeah.
Team was struggling at right now it's 1-14. We shouldn't probably talk about that. She doesn't want to hear about that right now.
But she talks all about it. Why doesn't she want to hear about it?
But here, let me give you some stats just on the first week alone, Katie. Des Bryant, Des Bryant scored 6 points last week. Okay, the first week that Janke got to use it. 6 points. Greg Jennings scored 5 points, so 1 point less, because that's the wide receiver for wide receiver trade. And then the throw-in was Jake Locker, who she got 12 points for, which isn't much for a quarterback, but her backup quarterback, Alex Smith, who she would have used, only scored 6. So she had a net of +5, which isn't much, but it's the first week. Maybe the commission will keep track of this. The other side note is Janke benched Andre Johnson to start Des Bryant. Andre Johnson scored 44 points. So if he wouldn't have done the trade, Janke would have had a net of probably 38 points last week. Katie, swallow those numbers. Swallow them whole.
Anyhow, I agree. I don't think that it should have gone to a league vote. I don't think it's a trade that warrants something like that. I agree that it does need to be something outrageous. Like when Les used to offer me some players that were even retired for Drew Brees. Now that's something that should have gone to a league vote if I actually went, okay.
Not Les. You know what Les likes to? He likes to be tickled. You ever just go up and tickle Les?
No, I have never tickled
He
Les.
likes it right here, Katie, right in there.
But I'm sure it's funny to watch you tickle Les.
So, let's get into the trades going on. So, we'll put that one to bed because, that was talked about a lot. The league, we put it to a league vote. I think 38% thought that it should go to a league vote. 31% thought that Jared came out on top in the trade, and the other 31% thought it was an even trade. 0% thought Carrie came out on top.
I don't know that it was so much an even trade as much as I wish. I don't know. I still think that we are all old enough to be able to say, yeah, I really want those players, or no, that's a sucky trade. I mean, I think we should be able to make that decision for ourselves. But that's why I'm glad it has to be approved through you, so you can kind of see those stupid trade rapes out there.
You would think we're old enough to do that, but yet...
But then again, you do see some of the things that are posted on the message board, and you wonder.
And we are making this video, so that you got to take all that into consideration.
Anyhow,
so let's get into what's happened on these trades just recently, Katie, and then we'll quickly debate. We'll go through the trades, and then we'll quickly decide who we think is going to come out on top of the trades. Okay, so we'll have a little banter here, and then the people at home can watch this.
Right.
I think we both agree Janke came out on top over Carrie's on that trade.
Agreed.
Okay, we both agree with that.
Janke did.
Les was very paranoid. Les traded away Anquan Boldin from the 49ers to Dane for Harry Douglas. Now, Harry Douglas is the Atlanta Falcons wide receiver who's now playing a lot more because Julio Jones got hurt. Les was very paranoid about this trade because he felt that there was something going on, like
collusion.
Well, not collusion, but he confided in the commissioner, who then now tells you, all you, of course, that Les was scared. He couldn't figure out what was up Dane's sleeve. He was wanting to know if Frank Gore got hurt, so the Niners would be throwing more. So Bolden all of a sudden, or if Harry Douglas retired, or. But anyways, that trade went through, and Dane decided, because Dane didn't want to do it the week before, he called Les nuts, called him small balls, and then Dane decided to propose that trade. So very strange that happened.
Someone's proposing.
Anyways, so Les gets Harry Douglas last week. Harry Douglas scored him 8 points, 81 yards of receiving. Anquan Boldin was off last week. He is the leading receiver for the 49ers, but the 49ers haven't been throwing very much. I think Les kind of came out on top on this with Harry Douglas. What do you think? Slight edge.
I don't know. I think
This is Les, and this would be Dane. I think it's over here a little bit.
I don't know. I kind of think it's. I don't know.
I'll tell you, you chew on that for a second, and then we're going to get back to you.
I'll chew on it.
Probably never. But we'll check back. So now this week what happened, Jared Janke, Spankies is at it again. They did another trade. They traded to your commissioner. They sent off Andre Johnson, who just scored 44 points, and Ben Tate, the backup for the Texans, to Adrian Foster, who's on Dane's roster. But Arian Foster got hurt. Traded to the JH Express, who sent out Larry Fitzgerald and Maurice Jones-Drew, who I got in a trade earlier with Chris Pickens, which is a funny story in itself. But I don't
want to hear about it.
It's a funny story.
But I don't want to hear about it.
Okay. Anyways, I traded those guys out. So I get Andre Johnson, wide receiver for the Texans, who looked great last week with Case Keenum thrown, and Ben Tate, who could be a starter.
He could be.
MJD, Maurice Jones-Drew, is a starter with the Jaguars. The Jaguars, worst team in the league. Larry Fitzgerald. Quickly, Katie, who do you think came out on top? Because I know who I think came out on top.
I think that Janke is doing a lot of research, Johnny Hunt, and maybe you should watch out for Janke. He seems to be looking into things and doing his homework.
Katie, time and time again, the call comes to, Johnny, please hang out with me. Johnny, let's spend some time together. And what's Johnny doing? On the computer, researching.
Yeah, like pornographic videos.
And I just want to see what the latest is out there.
Yeah, you want to hear all about the Romo and...
Anyways, I think I came out on top of this. We'll find out what Katie says later. Today, a trade went down today. Roddy White is sent out by the 85 Bears. The 85 Bears send Roddy White out, starting wide receiver for Atlanta, who's been hurt the last 3 or 4 weeks. In return, the 85 Bears, Kelly gets Mike Wallace. Les Salzman is the one who proposed the trade from the Brew Crew. He gets Roddy White. Les is extremely happy. He gets Roddy White. 85 Bears, who are right now 6 wins, 9 losses, just had 2 wins last week. Kelly's a little desperate. Picks up Mike Wallace, who's healthy, but nowhere near the caliber of wide receiver as of Roddy White, but Roddy White's been hurt. Roddy White may be back this week. Katie, where do you fall in on this one?
I think Kelly's struggling this week. I think he got the lower end of the stick on this one. Kind of like how I beat him in poker this week. I
was going to say, yeah, I think you'd rub that in a little bit. Kelly struggled a little bit. Threw in a few too many chips against you, didn't he?
He wasn't happy.
How about that bluff you did on that flush?
It wasn't a bluff. I still would have won even if he called it.
See, that's the problem.
Oh, wait, he did call it.
Kelly,
that's the problem.
Kelly, that's the problem. Katie doesn't even know when she's bluffing. She thought she would have won that hand if she would have flipped over her cards.
Okay, so he accidentally had a flush.
Well, nobody had a flush.
I still won.
He thought you had a flush. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I can tell the Pickens MJD story, which is...
Anyhow,
okay, no. I think Les came out ahead on this. I like Roddy White going forward. Mike Wallace has been inconsistent. I don't think he's even...
Why?
Yeah, I don't even think he's even scored a touchdown. He's the number 1 wide receiver in Miami, but he's been crying that he doesn't get the ball enough. You know what happens when people start crying?
You get an ice cream cone like I do every time I cry. You give me an ice cream cone.
Ice cream cones aren't going to score you fantasy points there, K-Peck. They're not going to get her done. So we'll give the slight edge to Les if Roddy White is healthy. That's the big if.
Ice cream sounds good.
Okay. Another big trade with another team kind of struggling. We said that the 85 Bears are 6-9. They're struggling. Maverick and Iceman. Chris Pickens' team also 6-9. Also very on the fringe of falling out of the playoff race. He really needs something to happen this week. Trades with Hank, who's 9-6.
Hank is another one of those who's like trying really hard. He, Carrie, and a couple other people who are big talkers on the message board, but they just can't deliver.
Oh, wow. Katie Peck throws it out.
Now, Hank was number 1 on the waiver wire for a while there, but big whoop-de-doo when your teams are still not delivering.
Boy, look, Katie's hitting that Capri Sun hard and coming out with some fire.
I just think that they bring a lot of talk to the board, and it's just weak. It's just really weak. When you guys are all talking, oh, you have a big wiener, you have a little wiener, you all suck, blah, 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 blah.
Maybe we should post wieners. Or...
That's what you do in your research.
Vaginas?
You keep looking up those when you research.
Would you be comfortable posting vaginas?
I'm just kidding about you looking at porn. I don't know what you do.
What's going on? Hello?
Anyhow,
okay. Anyways, back to this trade.
I just think that they really need to stop with the big talk until you actually start winning a couple games.
Well, now Hank is 9-6. He's up there, and he traded away, making a playoff run here. He traded away Rashad Jennings, who just had a great game. Stephen Ridley, the starting running back from the Patriots, and Josh Gordon, who's a wide receiver from Cleveland, who's had a good season, to Chris Pickens. Pickens sends off Jackie Battle, who hasn't won any battles. The guy never scores. Deshaun Jackson, who's had a good year with the Eagles, and Sean Green, who just came off the injured list for the Titans, scored a touchdown last week, had 38 yards rushing, nothing real big. He gets sent over to Hank. Do you have an idea who you think came out on top of this? Because I know who I think came out on top of this.
Between Deshaun and who?
I think I really like this. I really like this for Chris Pickens. He sends off Jackie Battle, who doesn't score. Sends off Sean Green, who had one okay week, but it was just a touchdown is all.
Oh, you mean between...
He gets back Stephen Ridley, who's still a starting running back, even though Shane Vereen is coming back soon. But still, he's... And I like Josh Gordon, so...
I like Josh Gordon.
I think Pickens comes out ahead, and he can still use Rashad Jennings, who's hit and miss, but that gives him a much better option than Jackie Battle, who's miss.
Miss.
Yep, that's it. So, those are the trades that went down. Take a look at them, see what you guys think. Don't be afraid to post on the message board. All because Katie says that you're bringing weak stuff. I mean, Katie
It is weak stuff.
Katie said some strong words. You all suck.
That is
all.
They do suck. I mean, the only thing that I ever hear that's actually consistent, and I hate to say this, and I hate to give him kudos because it's kind of sad that Dane is actually bringing something to the message board and is actually following through with his team. I just think it's really weak when we hear people talk, and they're still at the bottom of the board.
No.
Gross. Anyhow.
Hey, you know what? Might as well go down fighting, right? So those weak people at the bottom.
No, it's usually those who have the big talk that don't win.
Well, we never hear from Sean.
Yeah.
Sean's always at the bottom.
Sometimes I forget he's even playing. But,
Yeah, he's not watching this anyways. He barely checks his lineup.
Yeah, right.
So...
I'm just kidding.
Let's go to the waiver wire real quick, because I want to talk about some of these great things that happened last week. It was a crazy week because a lot of teams were on bye week. Jen Peters, we all know Jen, won one of her games last week.
Against me.
She was starting Josh Freeman, and the last minute she decided to take out Josh Freeman and put in a free agent, which she picked up, and she thought they all sucked, but she decided on Nick Foles. Random, just a guy.
Oh, that's who I was thinking of.
He only threw 7 touchdowns last week.
That's who I was thinking
for an NFL record.
Not Peyton
Nick
Manning.
Foles,
That's what I was thinking of.
Nick Foles scored 69 points, and Jen barely even did she was just going to leave her lineup as was and just take 2 losses, what she was going to do.
That's who I was thinking of.
Here's a fun fact. What we call these FFs, fun facts, Katie.
Right.
The top 3 people to ever score in our league this year, Manning scored 73 points for an individual performance, who's Jen Peters' player.
And then Drew Brees.
Okay, this is forever, since 2005. The second highest scoring week ever, 69 points, Nick Foles last week.
No, Drew Brees was number 2, wasn't he?
Nope. Third highest week, 65 points, Doug Martin last year, and he was on whose team? Come on. Connect them dots. La, 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 la. Who do you think?
I don't know.
Jen Peters. Once again, all 3 were Jen Peters' players.
She's a rock star.
Yeah, she's a rock star. 85 Bears, who were pretty much...
Another quiet one on the message board. She never posts things that are vulgar, nasty, and horrible.
In other words, she's lame. If nobody posted on the message board, then it would be a desolate wasteland.
No, I'm not saying don't post on it. I'm saying post it and make sure your team is actually worthwhile talking about. Before you slam other teams, make sure your team is able to bring it.
Maybe Katie has nothing to bring. You all suck. That is all. Anyways, we got to get through this.
My team is still beating a lot of people.
Well, then talk about it on the message board.
I do, sometimes.
Okay. 85 Bears, who were 4-9 last week, got a surprise. Case Keenum started for... Kelly, and he not only benched Eli Manning, he cut Eli Manning. Eli Manning's off his roster. He was done with that.
Oh, poor Eli.
Case Keenum scored him 40 points, 85 Bears wins 2 games. They're 6-9. They're kind of back in the playoff race. Your beloved commissioner starts Mike James. Waiver wire picker from Tampa Bay scores 26 points. 4th highest of any running back last week. JH Express gets 2 wins. And then Chris Ivory, who wasn't a waiver wire pickup, but he's been on Janke's bench forever, scored 21 points, led to Belial Powell being released from Spanky's team.
What was that again?
Jared Janke wins 2 games back in first place, takes back first place over you and Dane.
It happens. not for long.
Dane would still be in first place, but he decided not to play kicker last week. Got a little cocky, and it cost him. If he would have picked up a free agent kicker, he lost 80-76 to young fellas. Listen to this stat. This is
his own kid?
Yeah. This is
Isn't that his second team that he plays?
No, maybe. This is a fun fact. If he would have picked up any free agent kicker that's out there that started, he would have at least tied. Every free agent kicker out there scored at least 4 points. That's the investigative research that your commissioner does each and every week. Nobody got time for that. So, a couple other players who were dropped at the last moment. Riley Cooper was dropped by the 85 Bears. 34 points last week. Nobody had him. Marlon Brown. Norm Buds was all about Marlon Brown. Marlon Brown. That's all I heard from Norm. Dropped him. He scored 24 points. Players who nobody had. Darryl Young scored 19 points. Who the F is Darryl Young? Yeah. And my favorite guy, Fozzie Whitaker. Why isn't Fozzie Whitaker on a team yet?
I like the name Fozzie.
Yeah, I know. He scored 2 points last week. He had 8 points the week before. 2 points. He's not doing much, but come on.
2-8-2?
Someone's got to put Fozzie on their roster. That's what I want to see. Let's get a home for Fozzie, will ya? I'd like to talk more about Fozzie
Why
on
don't you
here.
put him on your team?
I don't got room for Fozzie. Fozzie that. So let's quickly go through the standings real quick and kind of tell everybody what's going on here.
Right.
The Brew Crew are back in first place. They were out of first place for a week. They're back in first place, tied with the Pussycats at 10-5 in the Big Slobbery Beast division. Hank is in third place, tied with the Norm Buds at 9-6. Norman, America's team, hasn't been in the playoffs forever. Norman probably wasn't a factor in any playoff race since, 2008? And there is Norm.
Are you sure it was 2008 and not like 2007?
It could be 2007. It's been a long time since we've talked about the Norm Buds with any kind of other than playoff race and Norm Buds? Come on. And now they're 9-6. They're right in the thick of it.
I'm kind of excited to see Les and the Pussycats together in the lead. It should be interesting. Those two can... I think they both have pretty decent teams. It'd be fun to watch.
Okay. And we will watch it, Katie. We'll watch it together, along with the league. The JH Express won 2 games last week to get to 8-7, 1 game behind Hank and Norm. And then fringe teams right on the edge. They're 3 games out of a playoff spot. They're not out of it yet. Maverick and Iceman lost 2 games last week. They're 6-9, and Kelly got back into it at 6-9. And then Sakadeka is at 1-14.
I'm sure she doesn't want to hear that. What are you doing?
That's my 1-14 face. Okay, let's go to the other division. The Little Peters division, or Crooked Peters. Is what it is. Spanky's Jared Janke is back on top. He just did another trade. We'll see what happens. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But so do I, so he better move over.
Well, what the? Oh, well, all right. Is there enough room there for you? We'll see. They're 10-5. And then Carlos Spicy Wiener, who lost 2 games last week.
Right.
After starting 0-3, Dane went 9-1, lost 2 now, 9-6. You follow that math?
I did.
Okay. You want to repeat it?
I'm in 9-6 too.
So Dane's at 9-6, 1 game behind Spanky's, which should be a great race down to the wire. Throw in the Divas in there. The Divas have been right. Dane and Janke were kind of spatting back and forth. I'm better, and the Divas were kind of crawling right in there. And you threw in your 2 cents of you all suck. That is all. Which is the smack talk of the year, as said so by Dane. You're right in the thick of it too, Katie. At 9-6.
It's the first time Dane said anything worthwhile listening to.
Yeah, you're right there with 9-6 with Drew Brees and who else?
Can't say Idaho.
No. Your team, Drew Brees and the rest of your team.
The rest of my team.
Oh yeah, Drew Brees and friends is what we call them.
It's true. Drew Brees has carried my team every year.
Well,
A-Dogs.
Who's the second best player on your team?
7.
Oh, okay. A-Dogs are 8-7. They lost 2 games last week, or they might have won 1 loss. I'm not sure. But anyways, they fell back a little bit. The big news with the A-Dogs is Aaron Rodgers went out with an injury in the first quarter that actually cost him a game. He was down 80-71 to Seahawk Sean. And he thought for sure he'd pass Seahawk Sean. Aaron Rodgers is playing. He goes out in the first quarter, scores him 1 point. Aaron loses. And he's without Aaron Rodgers for 3 weeks. He's picked up Seneca Wallace. What can you tell me about Seneca Wallace?
Not much.
Isn't there some product called Seneca or something? Isn't there an applesauce called Seneca? Or a drink? There's a fruit drink, isn't there?
I have no idea what you're talking about, but I do
Capri
like
Sun.
applesauce.
Does that say Seneca on it? No, I'm just kidding.
You're funny sometimes.
8-7, young fellas. Dane's minor league team, right back in it as well after the win. Injured reserves, Mike Peters. Nobody hears much from Mike. Mike's very quiet on the message board.
Mike
Always.
is a quiet guy, but
He posted something in 2006. And that's the last we heard of him.
He still beat my team last week.
He beats a lot of stuff, but what? Anyways, he scored 142 points last week. That's the most in the whole league for all year. Who would have thought? Mikey. Tom Brady finally started playing, and Mikey, I would say, is still a threat to get in the playoff race.
I agree. I think
If
that
Tom
Mikey
Brady plays the way he
and it would be kind of fun to see that Mikey and Jen both in the championships.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't
no,
you think so?
no, I wouldn't like that at all. I don't think anybody would like that. Mark Doucet, the Rock, 6-9. He's been kind of hanging on the fringe as well. And then Seahawk Sean at 5-10, bringing up the rear. Another Charleston was at the top, and then they kind of filtered out things, and he kind of filtered to the bottom again. Seahawk Sean, I put this on the message thing on my article.
Sean, I'm kind of surprised.
You throw out Suckadicka, and you throw out Spanky. Spanky's only been in the league. This is his second year, and this is Carrie's first. Sean's been in the league 3 or 4 years. He's the only team out of all the teams to never make the playoffs. Chew on that, Katie Peck.
I don't want to chew on anything you give me.
Okay. On the commissioner's page this week, I put on who was ahead in the minor league categories, the minor categories as far as $10 for most points scored, biggest blowout, who's got the highest quarterback, blah, blah, blah. So check that on the commissioner's page. That's a lot of work done by me as well. New leader in the pick 'em poll this week, Katie. Pick 'em polls were $60. This is a pretty hotly contested race. Jen has won or shared a tie of this, I think, 5 straight years. But it's the Hank. The Hank is at
Hankster.
91 points. He leads it right now.
Barely leading.
Jen is at second with 90. Big Sean sifted to the top here.
Why aren't we doing the pick and pull this year?
I'm doing it
Since when?
since the beginning.
Oh, I can help you pick next week.
Okay, sure. It doesn't matter. I'm out of it. Sean and Jen are 1 point back at 90. Jared Janke, 89. And Chris Pickens, 88. All within striking distance of the pick and pull. It's never been this... Remember, the pick and pull goes all the way through week 17. So even though our playoffs start after week 14, pick and pull through week 17. And that brings us to the playoffs. I mean, 4 or 5 weeks away. You know, week 10, 11, 12, 13, 5 weeks.
You know it's exciting.
5 weeks left until the playoffs start. Top 3 teams from each division make it. The 4th team is decided by lottery. So right now, the A-Dogs would be in the 4th spot. The Normbuds would be in the 4th spot. They'd have the highest probability of making the playoffs because it's chosen by lottery. Suckadicka and Seahawk Sean would have the least odds. It's happened though. Suckadicka 1-14. I mean, I've talked about this before. As Spades, Robbie Hunt was 3-21 one year.
I remember that.
That's the year he sold his players, and we had all that controversy. Very similar to what's going on with Carrie here. Robbie somehow got in with a 6% chance of making the playoffs.
But see, the difference
made a
between
championship
Robbie
game.
and Carrie is Carrie does talk a lot. Robbie would have one-word comments.
Well, yeah. Yeah, he'd say, yeah, just one word.
All the time.
Yeah.
Like, every time someone would talk about Robbie, someone...
Well, I enjoy the banter on the message board, and for the most
I
part...
do like the banter. I just
It
like
gives us
to
something to
follow
read.
through.
It gives us something to read, so... that's all we got for this week. I just wanted to highlight some of those trades and come back and give you guys something to watch. Katie, what do you think? Any parting words? Do it. You want it. Take it.
I missed.
Thanks, everybody.
Anyhow.
Good luck this week, everybody. Katie, wave goodbye while I turn off the camera. There we go. Just keep on waving there. All right, keep waving.
Mwah.